Hey guys, what is up? I am Rosie, and I wanted to talk a little bit about something that happened in the late 80s and early 90s. And it's about music. It's music related. So, in the 1990s, it was said that Milli Vanilli, who were basically the faces, Rob and Fab, Rob Pilatus, and Fabrice Morvan, they were actors and models who were found in a club, and they were hired by this guy who was ultimately known to be pretty shady. He paid them to be performance models for this music group because the group that he originally had, they weren't, to him, I guess, they weren't that good looking. So he hired Rob and Fab. It was Frank Faryon, by the way. He hired them to be performance models for his group, Milli Vanilli. And they were hired to just sing, dance, and look good. But because of their looks and because the music was so catchy and fun, it caught on, even in America. So they wanted to tell people that it wasn't really them singing. They wanted to end the charade and let people know that it wasn't real, and they wanted to record their own music. And Frank Faryon was like, well, sure, we can tell people, but you have to give me the money back that I gave you. Well, they were poor. They couldn't eat. They were living on the streets. So they had basically no choice but to carry on this little charade. And it happened until after they won the Grammy. They figured they could keep going and keep up the little game until the Grammy came along. And that's what messed up the whole thing. So people were digging and looking more into it, and Frank Faryon finally came out, threw the guys under the bus, and they had to hold this whole conference and everything where they had to get in front of cameras and get in front of interviewers and news and all of that and admit that they weren't really singing, and they had to give back their Grammy. Because of that, their careers suffered. They never recovered from that. They tried to have a comeback where they were actually singing, and Fab could really sing. I mean, he was really talented, and as far as I know, still is. But Rob, he got into drugs and gangs and crime, and ultimately he wound up killing himself before he could make his comeback. He was all set to record and try to make a comeback of his own, but was found in his hotel room dead of an what is it? What did he take? Some kind of drug overdose. It was an overdose, that's all I know. And he was only 33 years old. So they were vilified, they were demonized, they were ostracized in the music industry, and they never recovered from that. But what people don't realize, or what they don't think about, is they were not the only ones to have done that. There were at least 3 other bands, there might have been more, that did that. I think Frank Faryon actually did that before in like the 70s. I think he had a music career where his own face wasn't used. He had another performance model lip-syncing his songs. It was his own voice, Frank Faryon's voice, with a performance model, and he wasn't paying the guy right. So, there's this group called Black Box, and they were an Italian house music group, and they were popular in the late 1980s, early 1990s, and Martha Wash was used as the voice. Her voice is known. She was in the Weather Girls in the early 1980s. She used to sing with Sylvester, and You know, her voice is very distinct, very strong, very powerful. And people used her voice, but because she's big, they didn't want her in the videos, so they hired models, performance models. In Black Box's case, it was Katrine Pinal. I'm not really sure how to pronounce her name correctly. I tried to find it online, but didn't find a pronunciation. So Katrine Pinal was the fashion model that was used to lip sync Martha Wash's voice in the videos. Martha Wash found out about it. She had to sue, and I think she got an undisclosed amount in an out-of-court settlement. So yeah, that was the first case that I found out about. And then there is Technotronic. Before they used, they're a Belgian act, like a Belgian hip-hop group. And before they used the actual rapper in the videos, who was really cute, she was like a tomboy, and she used to dress in baggy clothes and stuff, and she's really, you know, she didn't wear a lot of makeup or any makeup, I don't know, but she's just really cute. But they didn't want to go for that in the 80s. In the 80s, it was all about looks. So they used another model. Nobody really said anything about it. So Technotronic pretty much slid under the radar with that. But the model they used in that video was a Congolese model named Feli Kalingi. And she was dancing and lip syncing in the video before Kid K ultimately took over and was the rightful face of Technotronic. And I really liked that. I mean, I didn't think anything of it, but nobody really said anything about that. The most sought after and the most popular and probably the most famous case was CMusicFactory by David Cole and Robert Clivelis. They again used Martha Wash, different group, but they used Martha Wash. And like I said, her voice is very distinct and very powerful, but in their video, they used a very beautiful, very thin, very gorgeous model. And her name is Zelma Davis. Now, in an interview, the rapper of CMusicFactory, I forgot his name, and I don't even want to look it up now because of what he said. But his name is Freedom Williams, and he said he didn't want to sound. Basically, he was saying he didn't want to sound shallow, and he was like, "But I'd rather watch Zelma on stage and in the videos." And I thought that was so, excuse my French here, but that was so shitty of him to say that. Martha Wash is a very beautiful woman. I don't care how big she is. She's very beautiful. But the world is so enamored and taken and obsessed with body weight and body issues that they had to use models in these videos because somebody else wasn't deemed attractive enough to be in front of a camera. And that's so sad. And I came up in this time. I'm going to be 45 this year, and I'm not happy with how I look, which is why I don't show up on camera. I came up in a time where thin was in, and people had to be thin in order to be deemed beautiful, and we were fed all these impossible body image issues. And you know, I came up in a time where like Heather Locklear was the body standard, and nobody could reach that. you had to be a miracle worker in order to reach something like that. I used to take diet pills. I used to skip meals. I used to not eat in order to reach a certain weight. And even though I didn't reach the weight that I wanted to reach, even though I was 130 pounds, I held steady at 131 pounds until I was pregnant. And I thought I was fat. And I'm going to tell you right now, I wish I was the size that I was then when I thought I was fat, because how I look now, I'm not happy with it. And that's really sad, and it's really tragic actually. But performance models are demonized, and the most demonized of all are Rob and Fab, who were only doing what Technotronic did, what Black Box did, what CMusicFactory did. They were scapegoated, they were thrown under the bus, and their careers and lives were ultimately ruined. And nobody else talks about all the other guys. So that's what I wanted to talk about in this video. Rob and Fab were not the only ones. So if you can find out, if you can find a way, support Fabrice Morvan, because he's still out there singing and doing his thing. And you know, Rob, it destroyed him mentally, physically, and everything else. It just destroyed him. So just support artists, you know, no matter what they look like, no matter what, you know, if they're popular, if they are talented, support them, because you're their bread and butter, you know, and they want to entertain you, make you dance, make you smile, make you think. So just support them. But I'm gonna go. Thank you guys so much for wasting time with me. I love you guys very, very much. Hit like, share, and subscribe if you care to. It would really mean a lot to me. And I hope to see y'all on the next upload. Bye for now.